the speakers, and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, and I'll get you through the next hour here on YSN as we approach closer and closer to regional semifinal play tomorrow and Saturday. Me and Ty will have a big preview for that tomorrow, but today want to start off the show by giving a shout out to some soccer teams that were fighting for a trip to the state finals last night. Unfortunately for the YSN family, neither one of these scores went our way, but they were both very good soccer matches. They were both highly contested, and I think both teams should be proud of the effort they put out last night. Cardinal Mooney, they fell to Ottawa Hills 1-0 in Sandusky. This score kind of surprised me a little bit, only because Mooney had been so dominant over Ottawa Hills in the last couple of years. Knocked him out of the tournament 2 years ago, beat him earlier this year in the regular season. It seemed like Mooney had Ottawa Hills numbers, but we've learned this year with a lot of sports in the YSN family. There have been a lot of schools within our coverage map that have beaten a team for the first time in a while, or gotten that monkey off their back, beaten a team that has had their number in the past. So this time around, unfortunately, the tables were turned, and our YSN team was kind of the quote-unquote monkey, and Ottawa Hills got them off their back with a 1-0 victory. Congratulations to Ottawa Hills, and also congratulations to Cardinal Mooney Boys Soccer on an incredible run. We're so happy that we were able to be a part of your journey. Coach Britton, great dude. We've had him on the show several times in the last couple of years. Always a great interview, always willing to give us his time, so we appreciate that. We've also talked to a couple of Mooney soccer players over the season as well. So congratulations to the Cardinals on a great season and getting all the way to state. Just one of two teams in the soccer field to do that this year. And also congratulations. Now we'll move on to the next game or in order for Howland, who got took the loss, I should say, 2-1 against Shawnee in Clear Fork, which I'm still not entirely sure where Clear Fork is. I haven't done the research on Google Maps yet on where Clear Fork exactly was. But Howland went there, and they fought back against a 2-0 deficit at halftime, came out of halftime, scored really, really quickly to make it 2-1, but could never find that equalizer, and did fall 2-1 to Shawnee when it was all said and done. Once again, a really good soccer match, especially the second half when Howland was so close a couple times to tying the game up, and they came out at halftime, scored a goal really quick, made it really fun, really interesting. Howland is one of the best soccer teams, especially when you talk about programs and their history and what they've been able to do, especially the last decade. So always an honor to get to cover them, and unfortunately, only one team gets to raise that trophy in each division, and this year wasn't Howland this year. But they got to the Final Four, and we've talked about this a lot. No matter what the sport is, you get to the Final Four, you've done something right. You're one of the last 16 teams, if you're talking about soccer with 4 divisions. So you're one of the last 16 teams to be alive in the whole state of Ohio, and you're one of the last 4 teams in your own division. So congratulations are in order to Howland having an incredible season again. And we expect them to be right back at it next year and try to punch another ticket to the state final next season. That Howland program is seemingly unstoppable. But that does conclude the soccer season on YSN. And I guess that's a chance to say congratulations to all the soccer players. We had a lot of great soccer teams that we were able to cover this year. We did more soccer games than we'd done in the past this year. Want to thank all of our announcers that went and did soccer games this year. We had a really, I think, a really good boost in our own coverage of soccer, which was one of the goals coming into the fall. We always want to improve ourselves, and we always want to, give a piece of the limelight to the athletes that are really putting in work. And you could argue with the amount of really successful soccer programs we have in the area, soccer might be one of the most successful sports we have in the YSN family. You know, we have a team in the state semifinals, it seems like every year at least. This year we had two. Not a lot of other sports are doing that in the YSN family. So congratulations to all the soccer teams, all the coaches on an incredible season. We saw a couple of them sign yesterday, and we'll see more of them sign as the season goes on. So we say goodbye to their seniors, wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. But we do have to close the book, unfortunately, on the soccer season. Now, we are not closing the book quite yet on volleyball, and that's the one thing I want to take a chance to talk about, the volleyball all-star game. We released a story on this yesterday. We released a roster so you can see how these teams are broken up. We've announced the volleyball all-star game on this show last week, and we even announced that it was going to be a thing back in August. Like, we were committed to doing it back in August. But now we have the date, we have the time, we have the coaches, we have the players. We are so excited. Saturday at 6 o'clock at Crestview. The two coaches are going to be Heather Guthrie from Lakeview and Coach Alyssa Birch from Boardman. They're both very highly respected in the coaching community, especially our coaching community. They both have experience in club volleyball, which makes them equipped to take, I don't want to say, I will say, because they are handpicked players from teams and kind of work with them and build the roster, build the lineup. They're both excited. They've been talking with me back and forth all week about, what kind of lineups can we make? What can we do here? What's this girl's position? I've never seen her play before. Trying to get stats to them, trying to give them as much information on these teams as possible. But they are both very excited to kind of be able to lead these teams. So I want to give a shout out to those two for volunteering their time to help us out and to come on to the volleyball all-star game and be coaches. Also, quick shout out to Casey Landsberg for coming on and being an assistant to Coach Birch. Unfortunately, Coach Birch's staff unavailable, so Crestview's assistant is going to come on and be Coach Birch's assistant coach and join her on the bench. And it's our way of kind of giving a little bit of a shout out to the Crestview volleyball program as well. Unfortunately, Alicia Auer was not going to be able to do this game, and we were sad about that. But at the same time, we were able to get one of her staff members on the bench, and obviously we have a couple of her players on the game as well. So that'll be fun to see. She'll actually be coaching against her players because Abby Emsch and Grace Auer are both on Team Guthrie. So that'll be fun to see. Maybe she has a little bit of a game plan against them for Coach Birch when they go up against each other. Also, big thing about this game that we all always happy about is the fact that, like all of our all-star games, the proceeds at the gate are going to go to a worthy cause. This year, Winnie's Warriors. You can find more information about that on the GoFundMe that DJ Oakley shared on his Facebook last night. It says it's a 2-year-old girl in the YSN community that is fiercely battling leukemia right now. All the proceeds are going to go to her and her family. And that's one of the causes that this fall has been weighing on all of our hearts at YSN. We are so proud that all of the ticket sales, everything that is made from the ticket sales will be going to her family. $5 at the gate is what you have to do to get in. So we hope to see everybody at Crestview. We're going to have a fun time. There will be a concession stand run by Crestview Softball. Mr. B will be announcing up in the press box, so it'll have that professional feel that he always brings to the events. We're going to have a fun time in Crestview. Hope to see you guys all out there. Crestview High School, Saturday at 6 o'clock is the start time. Players are going to be checking in at 4. So I think the doors will probably open to the public around then, so you can start coming, getting your seat, and having some fun at Crestview. So we can't wait to see everybody there. It's going to be a fun time. On today's show, we're going to kind of still have more basketball previews because, like I said, basketball is quickly approaching. We have tomorrow will be officially 1 week until the start of the girls' basketball season. And then, of course, the boys' basketball season starts the next week. So we are quickly approaching the start of the winter sports season as we are still trying to catch up with the playoffs and football happening to round out the fall season. So it's a busy time for YSN, but we still want to get these season previews. We're going to have Josh Upshire live here on the show. Actually, perfect timing because Coach Upshire just popped in. So let's bring him on and talk a little bit about the Badger basketball team. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. And I think the first thing we like to do with these season previews is kind of just recap last season. I know you've probably watched a lot of film in the off season right after the season ended to kind of reflect on last year and see what you can use to build on it for this year. So it was kind of a recap of last year and some of the things that you saw from your returning players that you can use to build on this year.
Yeah, last year we had 6 seniors last year, made a nice run in the tournament, made it to the district semifinals, went up against a tough St. Thomas Aquinas team that was really good, well coached, went to the regional finals, and we were missing just that one guard. And that's what we talked about all off season was we were just missing that one guard. If we had one more guard in that game, then I think we would have, that outcome could have been a lot different. We were right there at halftime. We were down 8 points, missed a lot of layups, some turnovers here and there. And we were right there at the end. So, we were just missing that one guard, and we got a nice piece in here that I think is going to help us this year.
All right. So definitely not the first time you've had to kind of fill a gap about the seniors that left as a coach, but obviously never easy to do it. How do you kind of, I don't want to say replace because there's never any replacing seniors, but how do you kind of fill the holes that those 6 seniors left when they graduated last year?
Yeah, we had some big pieces to fill, literally. We were 6'5" in the front court there, and Carter Burnett was a huge piece for us. Average double digits, 12 points, 16 rebounds a game was very important to us. What we had, Jack Lindak had a phenomenal season, phenomenal career here for us. Set the school record, points for a game, points for a quarter, 3-pointers for a game. He did almost everything for us last year. So, it'll be hard to replace him, but we had some guys we lost defensively and Jane Richards and some guys there, but I'm excited for this year and what we have coming back.
Last year, your opponents were asking what kind of trees were growing at Badger that you were able to pull this height off of. Were you able to go back to those trees? Do you have height on this team too, even though you lost some from graduation?
We have some pieces. We have Carter Burnett's brother, Cole Burnett, who's 6'6". We did bring in a nice piece. Came back to us from Harding. Actually lives in Badger. Duncan Moy, who's 6'5". So yeah, we have a few trees still here.
The tree is alive and well in Badger. Don't worry about that. I want to use that to give you the chance to kind of shout out the rest of your roster, some of the returning players that are going to make big impacts to this team, and maybe some of the new faces that Badger fans should be aware of coming to this program.
Yeah. So we have Brad Hamilton is the only returning starter who comes back from last year. Brad's about 230 points away from 1,000 points. He's had a great career for us. 3-year starting guard for us. We have Cole Burnett, as I said, that's Carter's brother. 6'6" in the middle. Can't teach size. He finishes well at the rim. He just creates a lot defensively for us. Just that presence in the middle. We also have another senior, Alex Butler, who has been a great program kid for us. We're looking to get a lot from him this year as far as energy and rebounding defensively. Those are our 3 seniors from this year. Our junior class is fairly deep as well. Nick Barr comes back. He played for us last year. Got a lot of minutes from him towards the end of the year. Good guard for us, shooter, shoots it well. We have Jared Schmidt, another post for us that has predominantly played JV, but we're expecting a lot from him. And then As I said, we have that key piece, Duncan Moy, who came in for us, number 16 junior in the state of Ohio, who is just a special talent. If nobody's seen him play, he's special. He does some things for us that I haven't seen here in my 7 years of coaching. I'm excited for him. And then we have a freshman group that we're expecting a lot of. We have a freshman named Preston Grassatano who shoots the lights out. I know we had a summer league game this year. He made 7 threes for us, so he shoots it well. Lewis Flowers is an on-ball defender that just is a gnat. I mean, he gets after it. He'll frustrate some opponents who are handling the ball. So we're young, but we're still expecting good things this year.
And you talked about some freshmen that are coming on this team, and then some people that are making their varsity kind of debut. So for you as a coach and as a coaching staff, when you have someone that's entering your program or entering the varsity level of the program, what are some first things that you want them to know about you and your staff and your philosophy and the culture that you put on Badger? What are some of the most important things for them to know right off the bat?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we honestly have a team meeting right before the first practice, the night before the first practice, and we go over roles and expectations for our program. First and foremost, we want to create servant leaders, not only in the community, but in the classroom, in the district, throughout. We want to create servant leaders who, because at the end of the day, basketball is eventually going to stop for them. And, what can they do for their community and everything outside of here? So that's the big thing that we're hoping for. Obviously, as far as philosophy basketball wise, we want to play fast. We want to play aggressive. I think we have the team this year that is able to play fast and aggressive. We had a scrimmage last night with Cardinal Mooney that went really well. I feel like, Kerry does a good job over there, and they're aggressive and got after it. And, we hung with them. So we're walked out of there pretty happy with how we played last night.
All right, so you talk about being a servant leader. So that brings up the question I have. Like, when you see alumni go out and be leaders in their community, be leaders in their college, whether it be on their team or even be leaders in a job after they graduate college, is that like the deepest sense of pride you can get as a coach, to say that someone that went through my program went on to actually be a really great leader in whatever field they're in?
100%. I don't know how many people know, but our girls coach here, Lavelle Turnage, I actually coached at Ursuline when I was there. And the things outside of basketball that I see when you're a father, when you graduate college, when you have that job, that you're successful, you have a family, those things mean way more to me than winning a basketball game, winning a league championship, winning a district championship. When I see those things of you succeeding outside of basketball and in life, those things matter more to me than anything I've ever accomplished as a coach, for sure.
All right, Coach. So let's talk about the schedule that you put together. We'll start with the conference. Obviously, you always have to. That's always the first goal, is to take care of your conference opponents. How do you see the conference shaking up this year, and where do you see kind of Badger fitting into the picture?
The conference is deep this year. Bristol's obviously up at the top, returning what they return, and Coach Geezy always does a good job there. We have Pymatooning Valley on our side. We're in divisions again, so we have Pymatooning Valley on our side, who's a bigger school who competes every night, and that's a program that we have to compete with every night to try and win our side of the conference. So then we have Matthews, who won the district last year. Won our league last year, lost one game. They do lose a lot of starters, but they'll come back ready to compete again this year. Wyndham will be ready to go this year. I know they have a new coach, new philosophy, but I'm still expecting them to play hard. And then after that, it's a jumble. You got to be ready to play every night. There's no time that I don't think that we could step on the floor thinking that, we have a walkthrough. So we have to come ready to play every night.
All right, so you guys have to treat every opponent the same, but I'm sure there's that one team that your community takes a little bit more seriously and gets a little bit more amped for. Who's that biggest rival for you guys that you think the community just maybe packs the gym a little bit more and gets a little bit more enthusiastic when you play?
It's for me, it's weird. I don't necessarily know that there are the rivalries that there were in the past. Excuse me. With social media and the kids being on social media together, I don't know that there are rivalries like there were in the past. There were schools that when I was in school that we hated and we played them and we wanted to beat them and things like that. But I mean, if we had to say one, I'd probably have to go with Bristol. I mean, just because our kids, we haven't had much success against them, but our kids know that's the standard and where we want to go with our program. So that's probably our rival there.
Would you say social media has ruined rivalries?
Yeah, I think so. And then, I don't know necessarily ruined it, but it's just not the same anymore,
Right. All right, Coach. What about your non-conference schedule? What are some teams that pop up outside of the conference that you're excited to kind of challenge your team with and to see how you square up with?
Yeah, we start with Leetonia. We don't really know a whole lot about them, being that they're pretty far away. We scrimmaged them last year at the beginning of the season, but that's really all I know about them. What we did last year against them. We have Camel game 2 of the season. I know that they lost a lot of seniors and kids transferring out, but going down there and playing, that's a tough environment to play in. You got to be ready to play when you go there. We have Heartland Christian twice. We have Heartland up at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for a game, and then we go down there for a game. Josh will always have those guys ready. This is a game I'm excited for all the time when we play them. We played Champion at home this year. That's going to be our autism awareness night. I'll talk more about that later on as it gets closer. But we're excited about that night. We have Conneaut up in Conneaut that they had a great run for football this year, and I'm expecting a lot out of them on the basketball side as well.
You guys get to play at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which is not something that a lot of teams get to do.
Yeah.
How special is that to give your guys that kind of experience and let them play in that kind of atmosphere?
That is a cool experience. I know it's different for our kids just being in a different environment. The background's a lot different for them to shoot at. And I know it's talking to them afterwards. That's the one thing that they didn't like a lot was because of that. But, when you go play in the district finals or the regional semifinals, state finals, you're going to play in different environments. So, I like exposing our kids to as many different environments as we can to get them prepared for those opportunities.
Nothing's going to be bigger than that. I mean,
Yeah.
The depth perception that probably gives you is taught by none in high school basketball.
For sure.
When you think about some of the strengths that you think your team's going to have, I want you to give like the highest strength, and then I don't want to say weakness, but the thing that you think the team is going to have to work the hardest at as the season goes on.
I think our biggest strength, honestly, this year compared to other years is our basketball IQ. We have 5 kids on the court at any time whose basketball IQ is above average. It's fun to be able to change things on the go and see how we adapt to things as they're happening. To be able to do that is in the scrimmage we had last night, we were able to do some things that we changed on the run, and it's fun to be able to do that now. One of our weaknesses, I think, is going to be our depth. Like I said, we're going to be young, experience-wise, so we're still finding how guys work together and piece things together, and we're trying to find out how deep we can go and how our bench is going to work.
When you're figuring all that out, you're trying to decide like who's going to get minutes, who's going to get the share of the minutes. What kind of things do you look for in practice and things like that to tell you like, okay, this kid deserves a shot?
So the funny thing with that is I speak with my wife. My wife has told me several times, this kid deserves to play and this kid deserves to play. And, we had some kids pan out the last couple of years, and she's like, see, I told you 3 years ago, you should have been playing that kid. So, I listen to my wife, but, my coaching staff does a great job. We evaluate kids every day. We talk after practice and talk about, who deserves to, get more time and, see what they have. And we evaluate kids and how they with what we're changing and things like that, and how do kids adapt. If you're able to adapt with what we're doing, you have a high chance to be able to get in and do what we're doing. So, we had a kid who at the beginning of the season was projected to be a JV kid, and all of a sudden he's getting big minutes for us because he's worked hard in practice, and he's showing that he should get more minutes with us. So we evaluate daily.
Has your wife ever found any hidden gems, like kids that you thought, that weren't there, but then she says, yeah, give them a shot, and then, hey, it all worked out?
100%. Last year, Carter Burnett. She said 3 years ago, I told you Carter should have been playing more. And she said, if you'd have been playing him all along, you would have been winning more basketball games. So, she hit the nail on the head. Carter Burnett was a hidden gem for us, for sure.
Cool. That means you got to listen to her a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
When you think about leadership too, with a team that's so young, especially when you talk about experience, who do you think are going to be some vocal leaders that you're going to lean on to be coaches on the court when you can't do it?
Yep. Brad Hamilton is like I said, he's our 3-year starter for us. So he's done a phenomenal job. Duncan Moyes, another one we're going to lean on, and Cole Burnett are 3 captains this year that, these guys show up every day prepared to play. And the leadership of those 3 have been unlike any that I've had in the past. Duncan takes kids to the side and shows them exactly what they're doing wrong. He's honestly he's an extension of what we're doing. It's phenomenal to see how he works with the kids. The younger kids light up when Duncan comes in the room. They love seeing him. They know that he has fun with them. So Cole Burnett's the same way. He wants to lead, not only on the basketball court, but his energy, his knowledge of he's a 4.0 kid. He wants to be a doctor. Like he's phenomenal. He's fun to be around. His knowledge of the game is good. And Brad Hamilton, like I said, he's another leader who's been 3 years with us. He understands what we're trying to do on the court. And he's another one who helps explain to the kids. So when we have those 3 who are extensions of us, it makes my job and our coaching staff a lot easier.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to give a shout out and introduce your coaching staff, because we know that you're not able to do it by yourself, and you have a lot of great people behind you that make this program so great. So run through your entire staff and what they all bring to the program.
Yep. So Dusty Carr is my JV coach. He's also my administrative person, as I call him. He takes care of all the paperwork for me and those types of things. John Moyes on staff as our offensive coach and our skills coach. John's done a phenomenal job coming on board and working skills with our kids and getting them a lot better. Ken Griever, who came along via Gerard and McDonald. Ken has some experience playing in college and coaching at different levels, and we're excited to have him on board. He takes care of our defense. He's another one who does a phenomenal job of explaining to the kids and breaking it down for them. We have my uncle, John Upshire, who's our middle school basketball coach, who came on board this year. He does a good job. He understands the game. He's been around the program for the last 7 years. So he's another one who understands what we want to accomplish at that level. And then our youth coaches, we have Kyle Harnett, we have Steve Sadler, who do a phenomenal job with the younger kids. Bill Pallett's another one who does our 5th and 6th grade. They all do a phenomenal job asking questions, understanding what we want to accomplish and how we want to get our kids to where they're going.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time. We appreciate the preview of the season. We look forward to covering you guys all year. And we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right, Anthony. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach Josh Upshire, the head coach of the boys basketball program at Badger in Kingsman, and it's our 2nd year under the Badger brand, and we're so happy to have them a part of our family. We're so excited to sign them last year, and they definitely put on a show on the girls and boys side of basketball. So we can't wait to go back down there this year and see what kind of show they put on. And like you said, the trees are alive and well. So there's still going to be plenty of height on that Badger team. It's been their identity for a while. And sorry for the opponents of the Braves, but It's going to continue to be an identity. You're going to have to continue to deal with the height of bad, the height of Badger. But what you'll have to deal with now is a commercial break because we are going to take one. And when we come back, we're going to play some interviews with a couple of girls coaches in the area to give you a preview of the girls basketball scene. We're going to have Coach Steve Miller from Western Reserve. He had a chance to talk with Ty Bartell earlier this week, and also Coach Nieder from Struthers. Both of those interviews will be played next after this commercial break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We always thank them for their constant support of not just this show, but YSN as a whole. You can find them in Austintown and on all of our commercial breaks. The great car dealership that will always help you out, and make sure you go check them out if you're in the need for a new car. We will go to a pre-recorded interview now. We're going to hear from the girls basketball coach at Struthers, Bill Nieder, and he's got a good team returning. Both the 8 coaches that we've heard from so far have singled out Struthers as a team that they have to watch out for. And now we're going to hear from the coach himself and Coach Nieder about what the Wildcats are going to bring to the table this year in the very, very prestigious and famous Struthers Fieldhouse that we love to do games in. So here is Coach Nieder from Struthers.
Welcome back in, everybody. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head into the Northeast 8 Conference, home of the Struthers Lady Wildcats with head coach Bill Nieder. Coach, how we doing today?
Good, thank you.
Coach, we always like to start off with a Meet the Team segment, and honestly, a lot of younger names, it seemed like, bursted on the scene for you and really made their names known in the Struthers Wildcats program a year ago. Let's get to know some of those names that are going to be returning this year, as well as some of the new faces we could expect to see in Wildcat country.
We have 4 seniors. So 2 of them starters with Chloe Nieder, Faith Stellato. Adriana Rudzik's another senior. She started about half the games, and then also Carly Rhodes, another senior coming back, letter winner. That started some games, depending on kind of what we were doing a little bit. And then also we had Emma Morris. Emma Morris is a junior, letter winner, another nice player that's coming back, and we're really going to rely on the experience of those 5, throughout the season.
You look at the experience of those 5, and I mean, they garnered a lot too. Coming away with a winning record inside a very tough conference a year ago, you beat just about everyone, including a very tough Poland team. The only loss on Poland's conference slate a year ago. Have there been internal discussions with this team making that push for the conference crown? You guys were in the top echelon of teams a year ago, and in a lot of those conference games that you did end up dropping.
Yes, we've definitely talked about taking that next step. All my seniors, all the 4 years or the 3 years that they've been there, we were always kind of in that top, in the top 3. We keep finishing third, and it's kind of like, okay, now it's time to kind of take that next step and really go out and compete for that NEA championship.
Having someone like Faith Stellato has to make life easier, because we remember that game against Poland last year too, that huge made shot. Does it make things easier when you have a player, or sometimes multiple players? I got to figure it makes life easier as a coach when you got that player that's willing to take those shots in any situation and is able to stay consistent in their shooting motion throughout any kind of situation throughout all 4 quarters.
No, it definitely does. And Faith throughout her careers hit a lot of big shots. And one of the things with that last year is, she missed her first 7, and that kind of shows the player that she is, that wasn't afraid, a game on the line and everything there, that, hey, I'm going to keep shooting. I know I'm going to keep shooting, that they're going to start going in, and she hit the 2 huge shots there, at the end of the game.
I get a chance to talk with a lot of fathers that get a chance to coach their sons, daughters in sports too, and it's really special. I just got a chance to talk with Coach Scott over at Ysn, and we discussed the same dynamic. So I'm going to ask the same question to you, because I just out of curiosity, do you find it as a challenge as a head coach, kind of taking on and putting on that coaching mask with your daughter too? Do you find the time to, I guess, step back and try to enjoy the fact that you're watching Chloe play as a father as well as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely challenging. It's, even, when I took over, she was in the middle school, and it was way more challenging than I thought. Some of the things that I learned, and there's actually Coach Pavlansky, who's an assistant, under Coach Real, that was a longtime head coach. Coach his daughter was like knowing when to turn it on and off. Like leave basketball at basketball, at home. Be a father. I had to learn that. There's little times definitely real hard on her. It's definitely hard during the game to be, to be a father. It's just a coach,
no doubt.
And I've not, been able to really sit back when they're playing and kind of enjoy. I enjoy coaching her. She's very coachable. Works hard. So, I'm proud of her. As a coach and a father, I'm very proud of how she approaches the game and all the extra time and work she puts in. But it's strictly business, except for we'll get the chuckles from the referee sometimes. He's like, "Hey, Dad," instead of coach or whatever. But it's definitely been a good experience.
Looking at the rest of the team, I mean, we know the starters are the 5 that you're going to rely on, but we always know throughout the course of a season, it always seems like someone steps up for every team that needs to off of the bench for teams to be successful. For someone to get those kind of playing minutes and for them to get that time on the court during games, what do they need to do in practices, or what's kind of that blueprint laid out for them to catch the eye of you and the other assistants to get that playing time?
Yeah, and a lot of that started in the off season. I was really happy with the off season we had, one of the best ones that I've had since I've taken over. And I got 3 sophomores and even a freshman that's really got my attention, that are continuing to grow and develop, that we're gonna have to rely on. You can't play with 5, and it really comes down to just that coachability, work ethic, and good attitude. We have Ava Kroll, whose sister last year graduated. She's a sophomore post player. She's really working hard to come along. Caitlin Kimball, Liera Cornelli. She's a sophomore, tore ACL last year. She's a really high skilled player that's kind of making a comeback. And Loriana Janone is a freshman that's kind of got my attention. And we just talk about every day of practice coming in and competing. The playing time and who's on the court, off the court kind of works itself out. But just come work hard and compete.
I'm looking at the schedule that you guys have put together in order to work hard and compete this season. Obviously, the NE8 already brings its set of challenges, but non-conference wise, I mean, you got some district champions in here, some district champion appearances from teams in here. I got to figure you and your staff have to give this schedule an A to prepare you guys for tournaments this year.
Yeah, we definitely haven't shied away from competition and the challenge our girls. We think it's good. I mean, we start right off. We go out the kickoff classic out of West Branch or Walsh Jesuit. They're multi-time state champion, and just kind of a test that builds character. And we definitely have a schedule there that I think is going to help us not only with our NE8 games, but come tournament time.
It definitely looks like you guys are going to be prepared. And you talked about the off-season work and taking that next step. Obviously, you guys solid season last year, winning record in the NE8. And I know coaches, I know athletes, you guys always want more. You want to build on that. So in that off-season work, what were the talks, end of last season going into the off-season? What were the things you wanted to improve on? And what have been the improvements you've seen so far in the practices you've gotten to see them?
We really talked about committing back to the program and putting the time in. We spent a lot of time, besides just working on our skills and fundamentals, doing more team bonding and in the weight room. We had a really good program all spring and summer that we got in the weight room, we got stronger, that we really think we need, especially with some of the younger ones that we're gonna need that's gonna need to help us out. So those are some of the things that we focused on. We got more games in. We went, we maxed out our coach, the coaching days and everything. And and also one thing that I thought was big was getting back. We went to a tournament up at Cedar Point where the girls got to hang out, go in the park and do things like that. And I really think that's important, is kind of bringing everybody together as one. We've been talking about, we got a saying that we're talking about is out love. We want to out love our components, and that's we're going to put our teammates first. I want to go out and work hard to make my team, make my teammates better, and they're going to do the same for me. And we do that, we're something special is going to happen.
You're going into year number 22 with the Struthers program, or Struthers girls basketball program overall, 5th as head coach. What keeps you coming back to Struthers every year? What is it about this community? What is the love for this community that sees you coming back to the Wildcats year in and year out?
I just love the community. I'm a Struthers graduated in '93. Kind of got talked into coaching. Coach Fueline talked me into helping out with the boys, and then Coach Ian Wilson. It's like, hey, you might as well come over to girls and try that out. And I love the community. I love the school. And it's just the kids. You just going out and feeling that you're helping them out. You're building character, and you're kind of making besides basketball, you're making a overall impact in their lives.
Coach, I always like to ask the meet the staff question as well, because I know the staff sometimes are changing, sometimes they're staying the same, but either way, they're all important too to making a program run. So I want to get a chance to meet the 2022-23 edition of the Struthers girls basketball staff.
I got Coach Wendell Wagnon coming back. He was a longtime Tony Massisi assistant. He was head coach at Lowville for a while after, when Tony kind of left there. So, he lives in Struthers. He's a huge help, brings a lot of valuable basketball knowledge. We got our junior varsity JV coach is Hallie Minchin-Skook. She's back. She's actually, like you said, how many years I've been in the program. She actually coached her in middle school when I was first starting out. And, it's good to have her. She's a teacher in the system. We got a new addition as a freshman coach, Lindsay Keller. She's a first-year teacher at the school, teaches Spanish, and we're glad to have her on board. And then middle school, I got Al Masai. He's been coaching as long as I have, and he kind of floats around wherever we need him. And then his dad, Gabe Masai. Gabe's coached probably like 40 years, and I needed a middle school coach, so he stepped in. And I'm actually still getting help from volunteers as far as, we do an elementary program and intramurals. I got Coach John Grandy's that helps out and runs my intramural program. So that's a big benefit when you have a former head coach and, he won a lot of championships while he was coach. So that's a huge help. So, I'm very, very happy with my staff.
Fifth year as head coach gives you that unique ability for the second year now consecutively to see girls that have been with your program all 4 years now senior out. And that's always, I think that's the first sign of you finally have like a culture laid out. The culture is kind of now known in the program and you could start building from it. So I guess in saying that, what would you describe the culture of Struthers girls basketball? And another way to phrase it, I guess, if I'm leaving the program and I'm to say this is what it meant to be a Struthers Lady Wildcat, what would you hope I'd say?
We got one of our big things, and it's actually on our program shirts that we say our program, our family. It's kind of about that family and that community that the program has with itself and former players. We got a lot of former players still come in that are connected to it, that are always willing to help. And one thing that we always took pride in, before I was head coach, that I would really stress want to continue is, we get after it. You're going to play us and you're in for a game. We're going to play hard. We're going to play hard. We're going to play hard for all 32 minutes. And, you play Struthers, it's a tough game. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I had the all the time. I do it on the show all the time too. So nothing new there. Real quickly too, Coach, before we let you go, I'm curious too, because we've talked with a couple other coaches in the NE8, and what they've been talking about, and it's been a running theme, not only just in the NE8, but other conferences as well, is the participation numbers. And strictly they're saying because of that COVID year, a couple years ago, it's kind of thrown some things out of whack numbers wise. I'm just kind of curious and talking with some teams. Have you guys experienced any numbers issues in the lower ranks? And if not, what have you guys done to maintain those numbers and keep those girls fluctuating in through the youth levels?
We've actually stayed pretty consistent. And a lot of it is having a good size, your middle school teams kind of coming up. And having a good amount of those, freshmen come in. We've maintained 18 to 20. We're going to have freshman games this year, 7 or 8. And I kind of attribute a lot to our, we do our own intramural program, where we're not really relying on parents or anybody else to do all the travel teams and the leagues and stuff. We have some of that, but we do our own intramural. We had to do like a city championship where we play against each other. And we really try to get the kids involved as early as first and second grade to do things, that's just like a week after school and everything there. And it, I think it just kind of leads to, as they get older, hey, we keep playing. We've had people not come out and stuff like that too, to kind of drop off. But I think that's helped. Our numbers, I wish they were a little bit better, but they're when talking to other coaches, they're actually not bad, especially considering we're a small we're like literally the smallest Division II school in the state with the new numbers and everything. So I was happy with it.
It's a battle uphill, but you know what? I love that community, and that community never stops fighting. I know they're going to be out to support you guys, and you guys are going to want to get out and support the Struthers Wildcats this season. You guys open up the season. You talked about November 19th, the kickoff classic. Walsh Jesuits should be a great game. You could catch head coach Bill Nieder and all the Lady Wildcats for free on ysnlive.com. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors that will have those games. It's been another edition of Coach's Corner with head coach Bill Nieder of the Struthers Lady Wildcats.
That was Bill Nieder from Struthers. And now we hop right into one more to close out the show. It is Steve Miller from Western Reserve Girls Basketball. Enjoyed this conversation that I was able to have with Coach earlier this week.
Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we're on the Scarlet side of the MVAC with the Western Reserve Lady Blue Devils basketball head coach, Steve Miller. Steve, how we doing today?
Good. A little bit early, Ty, getting woke up here this morning, but we're ready. We're ready for a new season. Had some good practices to start off the year.
I'm excited to kind of learn a little bit about what those practices have been like for you, and so meet this team for this season, some of the returning faces and maybe some new faces that you think might make an impact this year.
Well, we didn't graduate any seniors last year, so we got a veteran squad coming back. A lot of girls that lettered. Have 3 seniors with Brooke Shantz, Alexa Abrams, and Madison Leone. They were all big contributors last year. Brooke puts a lot of time in playing travel ball. Alexa's a 3-sport athlete, and Madison Leone went out of her way and sought some extra help working with Anthony Pugh in the offseason. So I'm excited for all 3 of those seniors to kick it off this year. Juniors returning, good season last year from Olivia Hughes, Lisa Eichert, Angelina Capianca, and obviously those 3 coming off huge volleyball season as well. 2 other juniors was returning is Lexi Pence and Lindsay Jones. Lindsay is the starting point guard from last year. She ended up tearing her ACL midway through the season. We lost her. So kind of bringing her along slowly this year. We don't know if we'll have her or not. Now she's been at every practices, but she's on a limited basis. So we're going to have to kind of take that as we go. So we might be looking to replace her. We also kind of have a gap in our sophomore class. We only have 1 sophomore out. Amanda Hamilton, which was a new move in last year. So we got her coming out playing and helping us out. And we have 6 incoming freshmen. Quincy Miller and Kylie Ramsey are both looking to try to get some minutes in the varsity rotation as well as learning during JV time as well. We got Kylie Allen, Elena Ward, Alyssa Fiskus, and Caitlin Fair, other freshmen that are practicing as well.
Looking at the amount of talent that you have coming back, we talked a little bit last year, and you mentioned how it was going to be kind of like a foundation laying season for a lot of these girls going into this year. But this year you were really excited about because you were going to get all the experience these girls season. What's kind of the game plan, and what are the things we're focusing on going into this season goal wise, and how do we build off of last season's success?
Well, it's not that we were unsuccessful last year. I mean, we won 13 games, and I think, in a lot of programs, people would be happy with that. I had a little bit of a empty feeling at the end of last year with the way we closed down, and I didn't think that we kind of reached our full potential. So I was somewhat disappointed. I didn't think that I had my best year. And since I wasn't a senior, I get to come back. I get to try it again. And what I kind of told the girls is, we didn't lose any seniors. So I'm glad I didn't feel like we blew that. We do get a second chance. So, and it was a little bit of a foundation year, like you're saying. So we're looking to build on that, but our league's extremely tough. Waterloo, ran the table, only lost 1 game all season, didn't lose any in the league, and they return everybody. Springfield has all their size back. Lost a couple guards, but certainly they're probably trying to overcome Waterloo too. McDonald, never a down year. Certainly they got to replace a couple guards, but they got some incoming freshmen that are pretty good. And then Lowville was in the districts last year, so we understand what's up ahead of us in the difficulty. But to be honest, this year we've started practice with an approach of defense. I think when I first took over the girls and our success was more defense, I got away from that. And when I had the runs with, Sarinsky and Danny and Kennedy and Pater, we just wowed everybody with the way we put the ball in the hoop, and we were outscoring everybody. And I just think I got away from my roots a little bit, which is defensive. I'm thankful that, my mentor and my old coach, Tim King, he sold his house down in Florida, and he's come back, and he's going to be on my bench this year. So he's been helping me at practices. And he's always prided himself in defense. So we got 2 guys down there working every day at practice at the defensive end right now. And I think we're pretty far along right now, only a couple of days in. So I'm pleased with that.
To kind of continue along with the staff too, I'd like to just meet the rest of the staff that you got going on for this Blue Devils squad and this program this year. I know sometimes staff changes, sometimes it stays the same, but I'd still like to meet them this year as well.
Right. So at the JV level, Joy Eichert is my head JV coach. And then my assistants helping the JVs and varsity will be Bill Capabianca and Tim King. So having 4 of us there, constantly each of us with our own expertise, able to add something to the girls, able to pull them aside. We have 14 girls and 4 coaches. So that's a nice ratio, and that's a joy to have. So I think it's going to help out not only at practices, but during the flow of the game. And, you know, when I'm watching something or doing something, one of those guys will be able to talk to the girls on the bench when they come out to maybe tell them what they did correct or what they need to improve on. And then certainly at the junior high, so much of it is done and starts in the junior high. I still have, and I've been lucky to have for several years now, the same coaches. And some people, you know, it's a revolving door down there. So I'm fortunate to have Alexis Hughes and Tammy Leone down in the junior high again.
And looking at that, 4 coaches for 14 players, that is a great ratio. What are those things that the conversations between you and your other coaches on things that you're looking for that determines playing time for certain players over the other? How do the players earn playing time, and what are the things you're looking for in the practices that kind of determine that?
Well, certainly, like I said, our approach this year is defensive. So we're looking for people that are in the right spots at the right time, always aware of the ball in the basket, fundamentals. And we also realized that we took a lot of plays off. I felt last year we weren't physical enough. We didn't rebound. So the little things: sprinting, running the floor, being relentless, keeping the ball alive on the boards, playing with energy, playing with emotion, all that type of stuff.
What do you think the play of Lindsey Jones is going to be like coming back this season as a spark plug? Because I've gotten a chance to see her a couple years back, and I mean, she, despite her height, man, she does not let that prohibit her, no matter what. Scoring, defensively, she's definitely a spark plug. How excited are you to get her back? Like you said, starting point guard and a good passer as well.
Yeah, if Linny is able to come back this year, which I think physically she'll be cleared and she'll be ready to go, but there's a whole nother aspect as far as mentally. So if she feels that she's mentally ready to go, and it's something, we are still going to approach it slow because she's only a junior, and she really wants that senior year like everybody does. Mm-hmm. So we're valuing that over this year. So if she does come back this year, we've talked. Me and her, and it would be at a limited basis. It would be coming off the bench. It would be spot play, a minute here, a minute there. She shoots the ball phenomenal. I mean, a great shooter. So you're talking about the dynamics and the quickness and the fast explosiveness. I think I'd be putting that on hold till her senior year, cutting her loose. This year would be basically a zone buster, coming in, knock down some shots, just play a minute here or there to give some of the starters a break. But if I think I'm 8 deep right now, if you add Linny by the second half of the year or tournament time and we're 9 deep, I think we're definitely going to be at a whole nother level.
That's what great teams do, develop players as they have their starters tearing it up on the floor. You mentioned your league, and of course that Scarlet side of the NBAC, we've talked, it's a gauntlet full of so many talented teams on the girls side. What are some of these non-conference games that you're excited about? I know you guys always kind of schedule up. I figure your non-conference schedule, you're giving it an A for preparing you for tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, we're not traveling like we have in the past, kind of going across the state and some of those big showcases like we have. But I certainly think that we have some good teams on there and some bigger schools, which is always good to face. We go to Struthers, which, I mean, what a nice place to play. I mean, I loved it when I was on the boys side and got to play there as a player. So we get to go to Struthers. We're going to Hubbard. We open up. We're against Matthews on the 21st, which seems like we're about a week away from that. And then Canfield over the holidays. That's going to be a big one to prepare us for Springfield, which is right around the corner in the New Year. So Canfield's going to be a nice team this year and right down the road. So we're going to try to see what it's like playing against our big sister, if you will. And then we have South Range as the year winds up. Before tournament play, and also Rootstown. Rootstown got us last year, and they got everyone back. So I like some of our challenges that we have with our non-league teams.
Playing good defense, obviously, is going to be the mantra, the motto, I guess, going into this season. But in order to win the league, what are some of those other kind of check marks you guys are going to need to have in order to grab a piece of that very tough conference crown this year?
Well, I think that certainly I think we addressed and put a lot of stake in offense last year, and just trying to put that together to figure out where we were at with our defensive end. So it's kind of like just putting everything together. We're doing a lot with defense and transition to start the year. So I think it's kind of now with the maturity, the development, these girls a year older as juniors and seniors, I think it's just kind of putting the different phases together with the defense into the transition, into the half court offense, where last year I felt like everything was broken down. It's just we need to figure out how to play a smooth transition of basketball this year.
It's always a fun season watching you guys play, and I know you guys do it almost like no other team in the area too. So we're excited to have another season of Lady Blue Devils basketball on ysnlive.com. You can catch some Lady Blue Devils basketball games for free. Thank you to our sponsors. It's been another edition of Coach's Corner with Steve Miller from Western Reserve Girls Basketball.
I appreciate you guys, Ty. I look forward to seeing you guys down.
That was Steve Miller from Western Reserve giving us his time. We thank him as always. And that will wrap up our show today. Check in tomorrow from 1 to 2. Me and Ty will be on with a football playoff preview. Wow. Almost got through the whole show. Couldn't do it. Body said no. Back tomorrow from 1 to 2. Me and Ty will have the football playoff preview. We have 5 playoff games between Friday and Saturday, 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. And we're going to break down all those. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the volleyball all-star game and also try to fit in one more basketball coaches season preview as well tomorrow for you as we try to get as many of those packed in our shows as we can before the season starts next week. So Anthony Hartwig signing off, and that was Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Power Hour will be on from 3 to 4 to get you cooking for the rest of the evening. Thank you so much for tuning in today, I should say, from 1 to 2. And once again, this is Running Point.